They hoped to get to a European paradise, but it turned out a juvenile hell. The situation is typical of Europe. Stories about how children are taken away from the civilized world and juvenile justice works in the dark. Every day mom and dad try to get to see me, but they don't let them.
Но они не дают им. Так происходит постоянно. Помогите мне.
Help me, all people help me, cries the Muslim boy.
Помогите мне.
I want to go home. I want to live with my mom and dad. Help me, another Ukrainian boy is crying.
My children, where are you? My children! They kidnapped 4 children and then another one 3 years later. It's my fault. It's I who brought you to this country.
Please save my son. Ukrainian women discovered the harsh reality of real Europe. No, it's not only Ukrainian flags and all-inclusive allowances. They have to pay for sympathy with their own children. Juvenile justice, how many meanings are hid in this word that is completely incomprehensible to us. For Europe, everything is simple. Mom and dad are parent 1 and parent 2. They are something like guardians, although they also have more rights because they are appointed by the state. Yes, they gave birth to a child, but they have no rights as such to it. The child belongs to the state. It's necessary to breathe in its direction carefully, not excessively diligently. If your parents force you to do your homework, call. We will help you to free yourself from such parents. He raised his voice, even slightly. This is psychological violence. If the care is classified as excessive, the child is supposed to be removed. The child cries a lot, he is cutting teeth. One call from the neighbors, and you're no longer a mother, but a person deprived of your rights. And we're told about 1937 and denunciation. I'm Yulia Panasenko, the city of Dnipro. I'm Alina Komisarenko, Zaporozhye. Yelena Kovalova, hello, the city of Dnipro, Ukraine. I'm Oksana Borisovna Boratevich. For a long time she lived in Kiev. I gave birth to this wonderful child, my son, Savely Boratevich. I'm Yelena Alexandrovna Latkova. My daughter is Yulia Mikhailovna Dashko. We're from Severodonetsk. My children were kidnapped by social services in the Spanish city of Dario. 9 months ago, strangers came and took my child, Richard Kovalov. The Ukrainian media call these mothers fakes of Russian propaganda. At the moment, at least 100 cases of forcible removal of children from Ukrainian families in Europe are known. And it's not about one child in one family. We're talking as a rule about large families where there are 3, 5 or 13 children. Children can't be taken away without a reason. Probably the parents drink or maybe consume drugs. This is how we, who are accustomed to our system, think. Similarly, but this is not exactly so. There are a lot of cases and examples. Let's dwell on one. This is Kristina, she is from Zaporozhye. She put the children to bed and went out of the private house into the yard to the parked car. Haven't any of you done that? The neighbors called the youth welfare office, Jugendamt, and took all 3 of them. The Jugendamt set conditions for me, which I fulfilled for all 5 pluses. Not a single violation, not a single remark, everything was perfect. But it got so twisted that the Jugendamt decided not to give me my children, and they didn't set any new conditions for me. There is no one to complain. What about brave Ukrainian diplomats? What about liverwurst and other insults? But the sponsor, is not contradicted. Even when it comes to Ukrainian children, they held their tongues and keep silent.
The Ukrainian authorities and officials are well aware of this, but due to the fact that Germany is actively involved in financing the terrorist activities of the Ukrainian authorities, they turn a blind eye to this. Embassies and consulates totally refuse to provide any assistance, even consultations. Maybe the political situation is really difficult and the Ukrainian authorities cannot offend their benefactors, but the embassy staff, consular officers are able to attend such trials. Believe me, the trial would go according to a completely different scenario in that case.
Fake. These children and mothers simply do not exist, and families become hostages, slaves of the juvenile system. They cannot leave unless, of course, they are stolen, and there are already such cases. And it's good if you manage to steal everyone. Sometimes a mother has to run, saving just one or two. What about Ukraine in this case? Alina's case is illustrative. She managed to kidnap all her children in Portugal and return to her homeland. Now she is hiding. She is wanted by the social services of Ukraine at the request of Portugal. Look how amazing it turned out. We have been writing applications to our authorities for months to help take our children away, but no one responds to this. We were waiting for 6 months for answers from them, and as soon as the juvenile system of Portugal submitted a request to find out where I was and where my children were, an alarm was triggered in 12 hours. Healthy children are always valuable, especially if they have European appearance. This scheme is also well known and time-tested. Social services can get into any family, even the police have no right to interfere.
Children can be picked up by families on request. In fact, many rich people apply to social guardianship services of such wealthy regions as Bavaria, Baden-Württemberg. Many families, for physical reasons, do not have the opportunity to give birth to a child, and then smart people tell them to contact social care, where they make a deal. Of course, the deal is not free. Russian children, Orthodox, Slavic, call it whatever you want, are distinguished not only by physical beauty, but also by excellent health.
Germany, Poland, Norway, Portugal, children are removed from their families, parents are deprived of their rights, and it doesn't matter at all what their citizenship is, whether they came on vacation or fled the war. In Europe and the UK, a system has been developed for years to take children under the pretext of protecting their rights from parents who do not fulfill their parental responsibilities as they should. They just developed a system of how to take them away from families. Juvenile justice. They just take children out of their families. Then the whole process of money raising begins. The lawyers, the social services that took the children get funds for the fact that they take care of these children. That's how it works. The authorities may decide to send the children to an orphanage and then let the court sort it out. 6 months, a year. At best, they are allowed to see each other for a couple of hours a week. Some are not lucky enough even to have these. It's needless to say, the decisions in most cases are not in favor of the parents. A new mom and dad will be found for the child, maybe even 2 dads, given the modern morals.